Lawrence says, we're going to have a punch up in the middle then. I was like, yeah, sure. He went, yeah, that's good. Should we like gentlemanly agree, like no shooting before we punch each other up? I'm like, are you kidding me? You're a Blood Angels assault force with a chaplain and a praetor, and I'm a shooty breacher unit. Like, not a chance in hell, buddy.
Hey everybody, this is Jason.
And this is Pete.
And welcome to the Lost Legion podcast. Today we are going to talk about two different games days, one each that we both went to. And we're going to kind of give you our overview of how we felt about the games, what we did, and just kind of give you a general sense of what it's like to kind of play some 2.0 Heresy. I am going to talk about my Warhammer World Games Day, and Pete is going to talk about an actual event he went to in Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start off, Pete, or should we do the Warhammer World Day first?
I think do the Warhammer World Day first. You good with that?
Okay. Cool.
So
Warhammer World. So I went up there with a bunch of guys, and we went on a Sunday, and we decided, it was Ian and I, first we're just going to meet up and play a game. I was heading up there anyway for other reasons, and it's fairly close to his house. And then just other people got invited along, and everybody kind of paired off and played a game to start off with. Ian and I kind of lagged. We took our time because it was kind of like our first full 2.0 games with these armies. He was playing his Dark Angels. I was playing my Alpha Legion. And we just kind of kibitzed and caught up and took a really slow time. So the picture you're seeing now is actually the team game that we played afterwards with all six of us. So our first game, Ian and I basically set up. We were just doing the kill points mission. We just kind of wanted to keep it basic and see how it went.
Sure.
He had pretty much all Terminators and a Dreadnought, so wasn't much shootiness.
Okay. How did you find the Terminators in particular? Because I've played against Ian's list as well, so sorry to interject, but just to ask, because how did you find the Terminators in particular?
So they're really, really terrifying, right? Because he has like 20-something Terminators in this list, and I was at 2,000 points, I think, and so it's very intimidating to look at. What happened over the course of the game was I started picking them apart, and we'll kind of get into how and why in a second. I had two vet squads with Bane Strike Bolters, which are breaching 6 up, so they become AP2. I had two squads. One was Scouts, one was Recon Marines with sniper rifles. I had a squad of Seekers with just their normal Seeker weapons. You say that now, but they did. Fuck all.
Really? Okay.
I'll get to it in a second. I had a Leviathan and a Contemptor.
Two Dreadnoughts in 2K. Oof.
Yeah.
Bad man. I'm teasing.
I thought the rules were one Dreadnought per 1,000 points. That's our internal balance.
Rules. Yeah, okay.
But they were really strong. So this was kind of like the first full game that I played, and I realized how actually tough they are.
Yeah.
So we set up with the kind of kitty corner across from each other, 18 inches, and he basically just needed to run across the board at me, and I basically just sat there picking him apart. So I kind of flanked in with my scout squad on one side of the board, kind of on his side of the board, so I could kind of shoot down at him.
Yeah.
And my Seeker squad. So they both infiltrated kind of on that side of the board. Everyone else kind of set up in my corner as a castle to shoot him as he ran at me. Pinning worked pretty good to begin with. I ended up pinning a squad. He just rolled terribly because all of his guys are stubborn.
Yeah.
And then he walked out with his Librarian in just his regular squad of TAC Marines. And he cast the power that pinned my Seekers. And I was like, what is going on? And they couldn't react. So I would have been absolutely screwed if I hadn't pinned the squad of Terminators running at me.
Right, okay.
With the Scouts.
Yeah.
So I basically
the Scouts pinned the Terminators.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I just kind of kept slowing him down with these 2 pinning squads. And, he didn't fail every time, but he failed enough times as he was running at me where it just really slowed him down. And then what happened was, like, I just kept kind of moving back. Every turn, I sort of, so I started up near the deployment line.
Yeah.
And then just kind of slowly started moving back each turn. And then, like, for my movement reaction, when he got within 12 inches of me, I withdrew.
Cool.
Being Alpha Legion, this is where that extra 2-inch thing became enormous because, and I talked about this in a previous video, there was a part where his 5 Lightning Claw Terminators kind of tore around a piece of terrain and they were 5 inches from me. And then they ran. So, like, they couldn't actually assault me. So they ran, but next turn, they were going to be right in my face.
Yeah.
So I withdrew. Oh, no, sorry. It was their turn.
Yeah.
No, I'm getting this wrong. They came around the corner. They were 5 inches from me. I withdrew on my reaction. So I was 9 inches away.
+2.
And then +2 for Alpha Legion. I was 11 inches away, and they failed their charge.
Yeah.
Pretty much, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like the Alpha Legion thing came into effect so much more than I thought it would. And it was really, really good. I never used my advanced reaction, though, now that I think about it, where I actually needed to displace, because I just kept using the basic reactions of withdrawing.
Yeah.
And then the extra 2 inches was huge.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think we've stumbled onto something there, probably. A Legion rule that works well with reactions is pretty damn strong in this edition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like being +1 initiative on the charge, for example, is great, but it's not necessarily the best thing out there. You might want +1 to you. And this is why White Scars, as Tom Sargent is so bitterly disappointed with their rules, I think, and a few others think, are pretty good, right? Is it +1 movement to everything?
+1 movement to everything, which pretty much gives them all +1 charge.
Can they +1? Can they react? Can they fall back an additional inch?
No, because you fall back your
initiative value. So it's not initiative value +1. Okay, no, you're right. They are trash then.
I think with that, like, this is an aside, but aside with that is that Space Wolves can run in charge. So I think that the problem is that a lot of people are like, well, you're just as fast or faster than White Scars.
Yeah.
So I think it leads to a lot of bitterness. I mean, I think White Scars are interesting. I think, again, it's my whole mantra you've been hearing me say, give 6 months. Let's see how it pans out.
Yeah.
But the Wolves seem very strong. Scars seem okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, so back to this game.
Sorry to derail.
No, it's fine. Something else I found out in this game was that Phosphex launchers are now every turn. They are not once a game. I bought Phosphex launchers on my Leviathan, and my Leviathan just became a death machine.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he had the Cyclonic Melta Lance, he had a Phosphex launcher, he had 2 Volkites, and a Meltagun in his fucking claw. And every turn, it was just like Terminators were dying. And he just kind of sat there and kept his distance from the Terminators and just started removing them. And this is the problem. Ian's coming near me. He has a lot of his 2-wound Terminators, which are also characters, which was really frustrating.
Yeah.
Because you can basically, the way the rules work is you can basically drop 1 wound on a character and then move it to a different one. So with squads of characters, it's super frustrating because you can't, like, you don't have to keep taking wounds on the same guy till he dies.
Yep.
And there's like 3 different units in the game right now are like that. And in 1.0, this is how custodes were. And they removed it because it was super frustrating to deal with. Yeah. And again, now they've brought it back. I hate it. I think it's fine on independent characters. I think they need to remove it for characters.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they kept it in there for sergeants, so you could take one wound on them
anyway, right? More often than not.
Well, right, but for vets and Terminators. But yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where, like, it's more frustrating than it's good. It didn't matter in this point because I was just so kind of getting back to the game with him, I was picking him apart
Yeah.
as he was closing with me. And like, he didn't really want to shoot me very much. And again, we go back to my favorite phrase, the bad touch. He didn't want to shoot me too much because I could just shoot back at him.
Yes.
And he just had bolters on his Terminators, and then he had a las cannon. I think it was a multi-melta. I don't remember. It was either las cannon or multi-melta on his Dreadnought. So a lot of times he didn't shoot at me. He actually started shooting at my vehicles and blowing up my rhinos with his Dreadnought because they couldn't really return fire and hurt him. And actually, this was hilarious at one point because he blew up one of the rhinos. It exploded, and because now it's strength 8, it like took out a couple of people. It was cool enough for the shooting at it, detonating for effect, right?
Yeah.
And then it blew up, and it was very cinematic. I think it took out like one person, right? But it still had the chance to take out a bunch of people.
Yeah. So maybe like, again, this is irrelevant really, but do you think if you were able to assault a different unit than the one you've shot at would benefit? Because Ian arguably would probably be one of firing his Terminator bolters into your infantry that can't really hurt him back as well.
Yeah.
And then charge a Dreadnought or something, right?
Yes.
So, I'm just thinking that might be a good workaround for how it works. I'm not suggesting people play that, by the way, at all. Though. That's just purely wish listing and, well, not even wish listing, I guess, just hypothetically saying it. But, it's just a shame you have to charge the thing you shot.
So this is how 8th and 9th, this is how 9th edition works. Now I think you can shoot anything you want and charge anything you want. And I actually find it a little ridiculous. I actually kind of like better you have to shoot what you charge.
Okay, fair enough.
However, I do kind of understand what you're saying. I kind of feel like what it would be good for is a good new special ability, right? Like,
yeah.
This is the kind of thing we need to see as a universal special rule put on some units. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah. Especially like Terminators or something, make them feel a bit more just throwing themselves into the heart of the enemy, right?
Well, okay. So speaking of Terminators, and I'm not sure because this is the game where I figured this out. They have this inexorable rule, which I didn't actually realize what it does is it makes them fearless for the casualties that they take. So it doesn't make them...
They get stubborn close combat,
It
right?
makes them stubborn, right? Yeah. It makes them stubborn. But it doesn't change anything like fear or anything that affects their leadership or pinning. It doesn't do anything against that. But what it does is, they don't care about the casualties they take, which is really... It's like ghetto stubborn.
Yeah, just badasses in combat. Yeah.
That was really good. Yeah, it felt really good. When that happened, I was like, what? Yeah. I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah, I just have to kill them all is the only way I'm going to win this combat. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt good for your Terminators. It felt like really interesting. I'm really glad they added that rule. And I think it was really fun. So the game with me and Ian was fun. The problem is that like it got to the point where I just kept backing up and picking him apart. And by the time he got to me, he had one Dreadnought, one Terminator, and I had pretty much my entire army.
Yeah.
Like he'd killed some of the dudes. Oh, the most exciting part happened though, when for 3 turns he kept pinning me with his librarian. So finally I'm like, I'm getting rid of that guy. So I turned all of my sniper rifles on that unit. I did 1 wound to his librarian. He had 2 wounds. He then decided to pin me again, rolls Perils of the Warp, and blows himself up.
Amazing. Excellent.
So,
get out of here.
Takes out himself and the squad, and he just detonates everybody. So that was how he went. He went with the bang. But yeah, at that point, like, I still had my Leviathan. I still had my Contemptor. I still had 1 whole squad left. 1 squad was like half mauled, but managed to fall back out of combat because it got charged by Cataphracti. And they didn't kill them all. So the rest of them fell back out. They couldn't chase me. So it was like, it was just basically a shooting gallery. And, the Terminators felt really good. They felt really scary. The Alpha Legion overall felt way more powerful and potent than I thought they were going to with their 2-inch, like, further away rule. which I thought was really, really interesting and kind of cool.
Yeah.
He never shot my recount squads, but like with Shroud Bombs and the Alpha Legion thing, they count as 8 inches further away for shooting, which I think is pretty cool.
Very good.
So yeah, that was my first game with Ian, and it went well. And during
Lovely
that
army
time,
as well, right?
oh yeah, it's really, really cool.
Beautiful.
He's starting to do all the transfer checker things. It looks so good. It looks so Scott.
I'm just on his Instagram trying to find some photos to bring him up, but he hasn't got any photos on there of him, I don't think, from what I can see, which is a shame. He needs to, he's got loads of Mordheim pictures, but fuck Mordheim. So yeah, another time.
We'll do a whole nother video on how Pete hates Mordheim, and then we'll do a reaction video on why Ian and I think Pete hate Mordheim.
Yeah.
Spoilers, he got his butt kicked.
9 games in a row. Anyway,
demolished.
So this big team game then, Jay. So these photos here.
So what happened was we kind of decided to get a little bit narrative on this one. While Ian and I finished up, everyone else jumped in to do a team game. And Ian and I said, okay, we're just going to take a 500-point force plus a character, and we're going to drop down, right? So we just basically both dropped down, one on either side with a giant group of Terminators. And they were in the middle of the fight, so it was like turn 3 when Ian and I finished. And then on turn 4, we dropped down. And this is me. I dropped down next to some Gal.
These are your alphas here, right? These ones. No, these are these Harry's or yours?
So the bottom alphas are Harry's, and then the bluer ones up top are mine.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And this is where I drop down with my alphas, like kind of right in the middle there. You can kind of see one of the Galvorback. There was actually like 4 or 5 Galvorback in those ruins. And the Death Guard Dreadnought there was on the bad guy side too. So I kind of dropped right down in the middle. I was on the side of the other Alpha Legion.
It looks like this is going to be a Braveheart moment where your Alpha Legion arrive, and like I think it's the Irish, isn't it? Like they just all start shaking hands and like, oh shit.
So I actually had 10 guys to begin with, and
10 Terminators, yeah. 10
Terminators, right, and a character.
It's not 10 there.
So there was 11, right? So this is what I suffered reaction fire from the advanced for interceptor fire from when I landed.
Oh
so
wow!
I took a ton of shots, but the Terminators are so tough now that I survived. So like 4 guys died, but since I landed with 11 guys, I still had a bunch of guys left, and then I just fired into the Galvorback, hosed them with combi plasma and plasma blasters. There was one Galvorback left, that guy that you see there, and I ended up charging him and absolutely murdering him in close combat. That game ended with the Alpha Legion Iron Hands combo, the natural combo of Alpha Legion Iron Hands.
The Alpha Hands.
And on the other side were the Dark Angels, the Death Guard, and the Word Bearers. Pretty natural combo. But this was pretty fun. We wanted to see how Deep Strike worked, and Interceptor, and dropping down. I mean, it was good. I mean, those were huge squads that Ian and I dropped down with, and we did both take casualties.
Yeah,
and it was pretty far into their game, so there wasn't like a million things to Interceptor with.
But being able to assault out of Deep Strike, it is strong, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's cool. Like, I think you take wounds on the way in, but you are in combat if you want to be more often than not. It's decent mix.
Yeah, it was really strong.
Yeah.
And then in this one I also saw Harry use the Alpha Legion reaction, which I had never used.
Right.
And his Dreadnought actually jumped behind a piece of terrain out of line of sight and could not be fired at.
Right.
And it was pretty cool. Like his Contemptor just went poof, smoke bomb, and like jumped behind a piece of terrain. It was like, all right, guess I can't shoot at anything now. Yeah, that's that. So the Alpha Legion advanced reaction seems really good too. But that was my games day. We only played 2 games, and it was a fun, exciting day. It was cool to kind of like get to grips with 2.0. It was cool to check out the Alpha Legion. But yeah, this was more friends getting together, kind of check stuff out. Your games day was actually an event at Bournemouth. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and what you took and your experiences?
Yeah, so it was hosted by Attrition Events. Go check them out on Facebook and Instagram if you want to go to some cool, they mostly run single day events from what I can see, usually, what I've been to in the past. But they're a great bunch of guys based in Southampton. But yeah, they were hosting this one in Bournemouth on a glorious sunny weekend down at the seaside. So it was a lovely weekend away. And I was going with the powerful Will Henry. That was my main accompaniment. What's the word I'm looking for? Accompaniment. A friend. You can call him a friend. You could call him a friend.
Also that guy gets around because he was at my game stay at Warhammer World too.
Oh, was he? Right.
Yeah,
okay.
he was the Iron Hands player.
some say he truly never leaves, but hey ho. Anyway, so this was a great event. It was originally going to be a 1.0 event, and they were going to keep it that way. And then 3 weeks out, they changed it to a Heresy 2.0 event. And immediately I was like, sign me up. It's around the corner from where I live. I've got to go. And frantically painted all of my Iron Warriors, which was great. In terms of the games I played, let me bring up some things here. Where's it gone? Oh, do we have technical difficulties?
This is the event where I think the weekend before I was messaging you and you're like, can't play games, gotta paint. And then I kept seeing in a group chat like new tanks coming up, and like I was like, damn, Pete, you're a machine.
Yeah, it was really good fun. I'm just getting these photos up now. So so I took so my list was 2 Kratos tanks, the new Kratos tanks, which were really fun. It was a Spartan field with some breaches and a commander, like a warsmith. 3 tactical squads in Rhinos with the Olympia shrapnel rounds, which were great fun. Fury of Olympia is fantastic as well. We'll come on to that in a bit more detail in a moment. And a couple Saber Strike tanks. I think that was pretty much it. 1 or 2 little rapiers as well. It was a 3K event.
Can I side bust you for a second and just ask, how did you find the Kratos tanks? I'm just curious. They were new, right?
So they were good. They were their primary key feature is their very Swiss Army knife if you take the battle cannon. Okay. One game they managed to instantly blow up a enemy vehicle with their armor bane shell, which is really, really strong.
Flash burner,
yeah, that's it. Yes, it's like strength 10 AP1 armor bane, but with Iron Warriors it's +1 strength. So strength 11 armor bane is insane. Their regular shots, like being strength 8 AP2 and having 2 of them, are just great at like shooting at Terminators and things like that. So that was good fun. And then their big blast cannon actually used quite a lot against the Blood Angels player, Lawrence. I forget what his surname is, but he's a cool dude. Just to pin stuff, and it's like strength 8 AP4. He had like some Feel No Pain squads with apothecaries in, so it's like, okay, cool, I can bypass that Feel No Pain with these strength 8 large blasts, and I'm getting like 7-8 jump pack marines underneath this counter, this template, and it's pinning. So long story short, the Kratos, doesn't excel at anything, I think, but is a really good jack of all trades. I don't think I need 2 in the list. I think 1 would be enough. But what we've talked about on a previous episode with reactions is the fact that they can be flare shielded, and I definitely was running them with flare shields, means that you don't care too much what you're shooting at. So
so they're good to shoot at that 10 las cannon squad.
Exactly, right? So yeah, I was like, cool, I'll fire my Spartan with its las cannons and heavy bolter into your las cannons team in again the game against Lawrence, the Blood Angels player, which I'll show you some pictures of in a minute. And they're like fishing for 6s to glance through the flare shield, right? It's just not going to cool if you get a couple. Brilliant, that's really good on your rolling, and also irrelevant for the survivability of the tank. So
I mean, I feel like we're sidetracking because you're going to talk about the game day, but I think this is kind of important because like you get a lot of people who are like, vehicles are dead. And I think from talking to you and kind of from what I've seen, I think vehicles definitely do have a place, because from what you're saying, like, look at this Kratos. Are you going to take the chance that your las cannon team is going to be wiped out by this battle cannon? Like, what are you going to do? Or are you going to shoot back trying to hurt this thing? Like, when are you going to use your reaction? So I think that like vehicles being tough, especially tough vehicles, still have a very good place.
And a lot of people and you're right. The general consensus is vehicles are ruined, so people aren't taking the tricks to deal with them. or not as much. So then, yeah, AV 14 flare shielded on 3 tanks was a nice counter to all the dreadnoughts that you might see, and things like that. It was an interesting mix-up. Anyway, so yeah, the game. So this first game, as you can see on the pictures, was because all of my guys are snow based, and the picture of this gaming table came up the day before of like it being set up. I was like, that's my table.
I love that temple.
And Neil at Attrition Events, he's like, yeah, I thought this one would be yours. I was like, yep, cool. So game 1, I fought on my homeland. Well, not my homeland, but my land of battle. I played against Chris Gibson and his Alpha Legion. They were awesome. I think it was Chris's first game. His saboteur is this guy sat on the temple here, I think. Was so sneaky that Chris forgot he was there for 2 or 3 game turns in a row.
Did you?
So good. I just didn't. I just forgot what he was. And Chris was at the end of every turn. Chris was like, "Oh God, my saboteur!" Like again. It was really cool. But the mission, I had to push. I had to select a piece of terrain in his deployment zone, which was my objective, which you can't see here, but it was another temple very similar to this one. And finally, I got it on turn 6. And that's one thing I will say. There's a picture of my guys, a bit close up there, but they're on the foot of the temple. They just about scored it. Most of my games went to the last game turn and could be swung by either opponent, pretty much, as well, which I think is a good sign of things.
How do you find fighting against the Alpha Legion extra 2-inch thing?
It didn't come into play that much against my army because my army wants to shoot everything.
Yeah, see, this is what I thought about.
If it was an army that if I wanted to get into combat with everything, then yeah, it would be a little bit messy. But yeah, that was great. I hope Chris had fun. Feels like he did. He seemed to enjoy the event as well. So that was a victory for the glorious 4th. So that was great. Oh no, that's an old post. We don't want to look at that one. Where are we here? So there we are. Where's that little arrow I need to click? There we go. So this was, I didn't actually get any pictures of my game against Will. So game 2 was my game against Will. Long story short, Will basically tabled me by turn 2. So it was great. We actually just went to a bar at the beach and drank some cocktails. That was our game 2. So that was brilliant. So game 3, Sunday, a little bit hungover. It was great because Lawrence, my opponent, was hungover the beginning of Saturday. So he was a bit rough day 1. I was a bit rough day 2. So I think he had a little bit of sympathy for me. So that was good. But he had a beautiful Blood Angels force. This mission, we had to... I don't think there's any zoomed out photos here. We had to, both our command squads, or both our leaders and their attached units had to start within 12 inches of each other in the center, whilst the armies catch up. So it's very much a I challenge you kind of thing. And I went first and deployed my breacher squad, so my 20-man breacher squad with an apothecary, with a warsmith in the center. And then Lawrence deploys his 15-man assault squad with a chaplain, with his praetor and his apothecary. It's like, right, this is boy band city here. This is going to be hilarious. And Lawrence says, we're going to have a punch up in the middle then. I was like, yeah, sure. He went, yeah, that's good. Should we gentlemanly agree, no shooting before we punch each other up? I'm like, are you kidding me? You're a Blood Angels assault force with a chaplain and a praetor, and I'm a shooty breacher unit. Not a chance in hell, buddy. So he sees the initiative. He comes in, shoots me with his bolt pistols with that squad there.
No, why did he shoot
I don't know why he shot.
Why?
So
he's gonna get shot twice at that point.
Yeah, so I go right. I'm going to use my advanced reaction of I will shoot twice. But the funny thing is with the advanced reaction, it's a bit detailed now. But so you'll all know about the shooting reaction, shoot back reaction now, whatever it's called, return fire. That's it. They can do it twice, but any weapons that have the gets hot rule gets hot on 2s and 1s rather than 1s. And my warlord trait gives the unit he's with +1 shot, but all guns gets hot.
So your gets hot 2.
So my entire unit, yeah. So my Volkite chargers are firing 5 shots each. Gets hot on 2s and 1s, right? So I kill all bar the characters in his unit. I kill 11 of my own
I was
guys.
just gonna say, how many did you-
Right? I mean, triple shot, strength 10 AP1 Lascatters at the front is... They're just turning around to their boss like, you sure, dude? You sure you want me to launch? Fire it, like cook it. So yeah,
that's so Perturabo. Send it.
so that happened because that was my return fire. So he passes his leadership and his pinning. He's fine. His las cannon squad then fire at my breacher squad, and I'm left with my tech marine apothecary and my warsmith, and he's left with his chaplain praetor and his apothecary. And then he assaults. I'm like, yeah, now we've got a 3-man versus 3-man punch up in the center. It was so great. Long and short of it, his praetor issues a challenge. I think I accepted with my warsmith. Like, yeah, let's go. His praetor comes in with his paragon blade, like ching ching ching, does a couple wounds. I passed my invulnerable save, especially on the insta death wound that the paragon blade
had
did.
a thunderhammer, did
And then my thunderhammer just goes, well, graviton crusher. It just knocks his head off. It was so good.
Paragon blades, though, right? Like if they get that 6.
I think you've paused, Jay.
And we're back after technical difficulties.
Always fun.
The camera's working. Everything's fine. The servitors have been executed and new servitors have been put in.
The handjob servitors. Yeah. So yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. You were just talking about your glorious battle, and you had just thunderhammered this poor Blood Angel's praetor into paste.
Yep. Yeah. So that was done. Then so this little counter you can see on the left here is his deep strike counter for his Day of Revelation. So then basically an assault squad comes in his turn. I don't quite pin him, so my sniper squad intercept him. I put a wound on his librarian. He passes his morale check on the number he needed because it was night fighting as well. And then the chainsaws just tear my praetor in half. So basically my praetor was the only man standing on 1 wound from that entire combat at the end of it. So the chaplain was dead, my tech marine was dead, both apothecaries were dead. It was great. So yeah, that was that. Long and short of it, this game went on. I just about won. The objective was just a word for the mission and its design. It was really fun, but the victory points were all based on when you could kill guys in challenges. So you got more points for killing a warlord earlier in a challenge, which I had. And then if you had a unit that was sweeped on a 5+, you could you gained a victory point as well for some reason, which was cool. It was fine. So I was like 4 points up, and I only had 3 points up, and I only had 3 characters left. And the only way that Lawrence could score victory points from here forward was by winning challenges. So when he's shooting at my units, I'm like, well, I mean, I should just remove my sergeants from the field here because then he can't issue challenges. But like, where would the fun be in that? So that was the only thing on the mission. It was a little bit one-sided. Of course, I didn't do that. We fought challenges everywhere.
Because you could just kill your. If it had been more gamey, you could have just killed your.
Yeah, exactly. Just deny. Right. And but so that was the only thing. Only critique.
Can I just tell you how weird my brain is depending on what Legion I play?
Yeah.
If I was playing Alpha Legion, I would be like, sergeants will die, of course. If I was playing Space Wolves, I'd be like, oh,
yeah,
no, you fight every challenge.
Exactly. And
Alpha Legion is the only time I'm ever like, they're like, I issue a challenge. Do you accept? No.
Exactly. But these tactical squads that you can see here really did the work with the pinning bolters.
Oh wow, this is a cool picture.
Cool photo, right? With the Blood Angels coming through the lava and stuff. Looks really cool.
Yeah, I like his green axes too. Yeah. I didn't see those
They're
before.
really nice.
That's actually pretty cool.
I think this was my most fun game I had for sure over the weekend. It was it's just really, really close, really comical. He wanted to be in my face. I wanted to shoot him in the face, and it was just really good fun.
I do like when he was like, "Do you want to have a gentleman's agreement not to shoot?" And you're like, "Dude, I'm a shooting army."
Yeah, okay, cool. Like the mission that forces our commanders to fight in close combat. Like, no, I'm gonna shoot.
You should have said, "Can we have a gentleman's agreement not to charge?"
Exactly.
No assault.
Exactly.
A gentleman's shooting battle.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, actually, let's just shooting gallery each other. Yeah, you fire your bolt pistols. That's fine. I'll fire my las cutters and Volkite charges. So then this was the last game. Last deployment. I got a picture because it was quite funny. The Kratos just straddling a unit of breaches. I played against Sultan, who had some Space Wolves. Again, that's the wrong photo, but yeah. By the way, this army's for sale. That's why these photos are here. So I'm not going to touch on that too much. Here we go. There's the photos we want to see. So yeah, this was against Sultan and his Space Wolves. Space Wolves were really fun to play against. It was a fun game. It was the last game as well, so I was a bit tired and just ready to go. These Dreadnoughts here ended up coming into the combat with my Breacher squad, and I was quite happy to accept them because there's lots of haywire and all sorts of nasties in there. And I can't actually remember what the mission was. Oh, the mission was so that this big central piece of terrain, this piece of terrain here, and there's another one in the far left corner were the objectives, but they counted as dangerous terrain. So you have to be on them to score at the end. So I think both of us had the plan of rushing to the objectives in turn 6. That was good. It was a good, fun game. And I won that one as well. I got an award from the event. Look at this glorious award.
Cool.
3rd place for a painting competition.
Really?
Out of 7 players. So, it's pretty low expectations, a low tier. But I mean,
I was going to say,
absolutely glorious.
For an army you painted in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think Reese just had a soft spot for my Kratos, and that was it pretty much. So, yeah, it was.
I do have to say your stripes looked really good. So Pete got a paint pen and then did the stripes with the paint pen, and they look so good. And then I think you put a wash or something over the top of it.
Yeah, just a thin down. I can't remember, Wildwood, the contrast Wildwood paint. They
looked really good.
Yeah.
It really pulls them together, and they look so straight. I had done one Iron Warrior test model, and it was super easy to paint them. Not gonna lie, but the stripes are so fucking hard.
Yeah.
And my stripes are kind of okay on one side, then you turn the leg. Trying to do stripes on a contour. It's crazy. And you're like, oh, that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the stripes that you did with the pen, and again, leave a comment for Pete if you want to know what pens he got.
Yeah. They're handy. I think the whole purpose of the Iron Wars for me was to do an army quick, and I haven't painted anything really in about a year, 2 years, nothing on mass, if that makes sense. So I needed something to sort of get me back into the hobby aspect of it rather than just the gaming. Something I could batch out. There wasn't an airbrush used once. I just wanted to do rattle cannons and washes, basically. That was kind of the main thing, and the pens were an easy way of getting around the hazard stripes. So, but yeah, all in all, it was a fantastic event by attrition. It was a nice, because there was 7 or 8 of us. Plus the hosts, it was just really intimate and a good games day. It felt like more of a learning curve for everyone as well. It was only 4 tables being played in a row, so someone would be having a rules query, and you'd be like, oh, okay, we'll all listen in to learn this bit now. And it was a nice experience. Venue was cracking. It had aircon, which was great. Yeah, right. It literally looked out over the sea. It was really nice weekend.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, just getting table turned to by Mr. Will Henry was a true reckoning, that's for sure. But yeah, anyway, it was all good. Anything else you want to add on this one, Jay?
No, that's it.
Some experience of our game so far.
Thanks a lot for listening, guys, and we will catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.